All right, I think we'll get started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ken Shaw. I'm the CEO of SOS Online Backup, and welcome to today's webinar. It's actually the first webinar of 2011 that we're doing. We do a regular series of webinars here at SOS, often weekly or every other week, focused on becoming an SOS Online Backup partner, specifically how you as an IT business can get into the online backup business working with us. The agenda today is that I'll just give you a brief sense of who SOS is and what our company history and background is. We'll then turn and look at the backup and disaster recovery industry as a whole. We'll take a look at traditional backup and disk-based solutions and the problems that they pose from a technology standpoint, how online backup solves those problems, and that really then sets the stage for the real substance of the webinar, which is the SOS partnership model and how VARs and MSPs can partner with SOS to start selling your own branded online backup solution for your customers. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, but we'll also be taking questions throughout. So within the GoToWebinar software, there's a questions module, and you can use that at any time to write a question. We'll actually answer that throughout the course of the presentation, as well as taking questions at the end. If I could just get a sound and video check from anybody on the line, actually, perhaps you'd use the questions module just to let me know whether or not the video and audio is coming through okay. That would be much appreciated. The intended audience for today's webinar is anybody who's interested in selling online backup. So that usually means MSPs, ISPs, ISVs, VARs, break-fix shops, anybody who's selling. Our partners really, there's quite a range of partners. So a lot of our partners focus on selling to the home user market, and then a lot focus on selling to the small business market, not a little bit into the enterprise space as well. And we'll talk about our solutions in each of those three places. All right, so let's dive in. In terms of who we are as a company, SOS has been around for nearly 10 years now, and we've always been focused on online backup, as our name sort of indicates. When we first started the business, online backup was something that nobody knew about. It was very much a burgeoning industry. It's now become mainstream. Online backup's rapidly becoming the standard for backup in both the home and consumer environment as well as the small business environment. And so we've enjoyed tremendous growth over those 10 years. We focus on being the technology leader of the space, so we're very proud of the awards we've won. As you can see at the top of this slide, we've been PC Magazine Editor's Choice for the last 5 years running, which I think is testament to our technology platform. And really that word platform is key, because what we focus on primarily is working through partners and helping partners serve online backup to their customers. So we have more than 300 fully white label partners who sell online backup under their own brand to their own customers, with SOS being completely invisible in the background. We also have partnership programs where you can sell under the SOS brand, but we're very much a channel-focused company, which is probably one of the key differentiators of us when you look at other companies in the space. Most other companies are focused on their direct marketing efforts. We're very focused on our partnership and a model and our partners. We've got 4 locations around the world, 150 employees, more than 3 million customer accounts on our system since our launch. So very much a large and well-established company. The technology's obviously been well and truly vetted, and we've been growing rapidly, which is really more of a comment on our partners and the success our partners have, because SOS's revenue comes from our partnership channel. So if our partners don't succeed, we don't succeed. So we are heavily invested in your success in this business. Just a brief timeline here, and this slide deck will be available to you. You'll get an email with a link to the video of the presentation afterwards, so certainly read through this at your leisure. But you can see on the right-hand side here, just in terms of our core goals as a company, we've always focused on being the #1 technology platform in the online backup space, and then to lead the white label market. And what I mean by that is working with people such as yourselves to help you launch your own branded online backup solution, with SOS providing all the technology and expertise and capabilities that you need, but doing that invisibly so that your customers deal with you and the customer relationship that remains between you and your end users. In terms of where we sit in the market vis-a-vis consumer, small business, and enterprise. We're heavily small business focused. Some of these other brands on this slide would probably be familiar to you in terms of where they focus. Obviously, Carbonite and Mozy are heavily consumer-focused companies in this space. Mozy also does some small business. iDrive also in the small business space, and then up in the enterprise space, Symantec and Iron Mountain have significant presences. And as I said earlier, the key differentiator for us is that we focus on partners and focus on the channel. None of these other companies here have particularly strong channel programs, whereas the channel's our key focus, and then on top of that, selling into the small business space. And this slide really sums up what it is that we're about. So we take SOS's technology and our capabilities and our people, our human capital as denoted by the logo on the left. We then analyze your business and your product mix and figure out where Online Backup would fit into your product mix, reskin the product, white label all of the solution for you, work with you to then create different product SKUs and price points and marketing plans for solutions that you're going to sell to your customers. So at the end of the day, we can help you drive incremental revenue that's very high margin with a recurring revenue base from selling backup as a managed service to your customers. And it's really that high margin, recurring, incremental revenue that that this webinar is about, and that your partnership with SOS is all about. And here on the screen are a few examples of the type of white labeling that we do. Pretty much everything you see, from the website to the product to the marketing slicks to sales material, anything you see with SOS on it can be rebranded for you, and that's a standard part of our delivery to our partners, is we take all of our marketing and sales collateral and rebrand it for you, for your use. And we'll see more examples of this later on in the presentation. Okay, so let's look at what Online Backup is replacing. Excuse me, I've come down with a head cold. In terms of traditional backup technology that has dominated the space, you've really got different approaches that have been present in the consumer, small business, and enterprise spaces. In the consumer space, there really has not been any standard for backup. There's a lot of market data out there that shows how poorly consumers actually back up their computers. We did some market research a couple of years ago where in our survey, 90% of respondents said that they intended to back up daily or knew that they should back up daily, but fewer than 10% of them actually did back up daily. So we've been very slow. When I say we, I mean the technology industry generally has been very slow to embed simple backup into the consumer computing life cycle. So where backup does take place for consumers, it's often a homegrown solution. It might involve some hardware like a USB drive or a flash memory key, obviously some custom software to actually facilitate that backup. You'd be surprised at how many people just manually copy data to an external device once a week and treat that as their backup. Excuse me. Generally, consumers are not doing off-site backup. So that's, in the consumer space, it's actually a very large opportunity. We'll look at market sizes in a little bit. In the small business space, however, you have had, just excuse me one moment. I beg your pardon. In the small business space, disk has been the primary technology that's been used. Disk and tape in tandem. Disk certainly has become the prevalent technology in the last few years. Prior to that, tape was obviously the incumbent technology in the space. But either way, the solution has always been a software, hardware, labor solution, three components to it. The hardware being the tape or the disk, some software component that would then manage the backup to that device, and then labor involved in rotating tapes, verifying recoverability, taking those tapes off-site, etc. Quite often there is an off-site solution based around taking physical media off-site, but that's always been a manual and time-intensive process. In the enterprise, you've got a similarly tripartite solution in place, being based around hardware, software, and services, but usually with significantly higher price points associated with the hardware and the software. But from an architectural standpoint, the architecture is the same. And then you compare that to cloud-based backup. So we still have the same components of software, hardware, services, and support when we're looking at online backup, but they're now all wrapped up in a software as a service model and delivered over the wire to the customer. So the customer no longer needs to worry about hardware or having different pieces of software working together with one another. It's a simple set and forget software agent that you install on whichever PC that you want to protect, and the backup then happens after that auto-magically, as we like to say. We're seeing the tape backup market collapse rather rapidly. So there's a survey from the Santa Clara group done every year that actually looks at spend on different storage technologies, and you can see here that the tape sales have shrunk from 2.3 billion down to 1.5 billion over the last 3 years. And we expect that trend to continue over the next 5 until tape really becomes a legacy technology. So where are those customers going to? It's a broad generalization, but a lot of them are moving their backup to the cloud. So again, a survey by CTO Edge magazine of 500 CIOs and CTOs yielded the results. 70% of them said that they're intending on shifting all or some of their backup load to online backup. So you've got an enormous shift underway in all 3 sectors: consumer, small business, and enterprise. And one of the major reasons for that is cost. So here on this slide, it's just a very quick total cost of ownership analysis comparing tape-based backup to online backup. You can see here the total 5-year cost for this tape backup solution was $9,130. The same solution for online backup, only $5,000. So a 50% reduction in cost. In terms of margin to you, the reseller of this technology, this actually came from a real live partner of ours, and the margin on this tape backup solution that was sold was only $500 once off. It's a capital purchase by the customer, whereas the margin to the partner with the online backup sale was $2,500. So from an economic standpoint, online backup is a far superior solution with a much lower cost for the end user of the technology. And for the reseller involved in the supply chain, it's a technology that has a far richer margin to you, the reseller, than more traditional backup technology does.